And we are live, coming to you live from beautiful downtown Crestline in the San Bernardino Mountains of Southern California. Dave's making me prove who I am before I go on live. And then at my table. Hang on. I don't know whether you can hear me, probably not. Oh, there it is, here. Evil machine. Hi, Howard. Evil machine. I think I'm live now. We'll see. I just told my alternative connection to power up in case it's needed. Portland Dunhills from England. Smoking kills. Smoking can cause a slow and painful death. Okay. Hi, Jan. I'm still waiting for somebody's mailing address to send out a book. At the moment, I'm so frazzled from internet problems that I forgot who it was. Anyway, before I could even open my YouTube studio, I had to prove that it's really me. And they kept sending messages to my phone and then telling me on the website, something went wrong, try again. So I imagine that stinking Verizon is cutting my internet. For no particular reason, just because they can. I'm also upset about all the stuff in the news. Former presidents, even Richard Nixon, retained his top security clearance. Jimmy Carter still has his, and he's frankly not long for this world. I'm not happy about any of this. I don't like Trump, but I don't like what the FBI is doing. They took his correspondence with his attorneys, and they objecting to have a special master go over the documents and return that privileged information to Donald Trump. They took his passports, and you have to have a special warrant to take passports. Do they really think Trump's going to leave the country and flee? I don't think it's in him to flee. Or if he did, he probably has plenty of places to hide in the United States. He's wealthy enough. And I wonder if there are things the FBI did not find. Maybe they are not at Mar-a-Lago. I don't trust Donald Trump, but, you know, as they say, ordinarily, you know a crime was committed, so you try to find out who did it. In this case, they don't like Donald Trump, so they're trying to find a crime that he committed. I don't like any of those bozos in Washington. Maybe John Kennedy, oh dear, is he a senator or a representative? I think he's a senator from Louisiana. The stream is on, or should be on. Hi, Etsec. Etsequentia. Hi, Gil Cardinal Sin. You missed me smoking the Dunhill. I'm now on a Camel filter. I have only 2 packs left of these. So I'm conserving. Did I say hi to Howard yet? Yes, I did. Okay. Jason's here. I don't think I said hi to Jason. There. Just in case. Oh, yeah, I did, because Jason was the first one on. Okay. Jason is the one who has not sent me his mailing address so I can send him the book. I figured out how to turn off all the volume on my phone. Turned out to be easy, but it still vibrates when it gets a notification. It's like a bee buzzing in my ear. Oh, you sent me an email, Jason. Well, I don't dare look for it right now because Verizon's internet is not that reliable. There, let's get the ceiling fan out of the picture. Hi, Witta. What I think about is in the room, as are Cardinal Sin and Jan Miller and Jason and Howard and Etsequentia. Sorry, I'm not always saying your full name. I'm scattered. Call me Scatterbrains. As the title says, I had an idea, but it got away. And Jason says he's the only one at work, and he thinks maybe that company has gone down the tubes. So if someone has a job for him, let him know. Yeah. Knock him dead at the interview, Jason. He has an interview for a new job. I wish I could do a job. I have spent years trying to write another book, and I'm just not getting very far. Oh well. Anyway, this morning when I went to start a live stream, YouTube said, "Prove that you're you." And of course, it's owned by Google, so I had to go through some hoops that Google designs, including the "someone logged in, blah, blah, blah. Is that you?" Clyde Lewis mentioned me. I missed his show. I bet there'll be a replay on YouTube. I've been on Clyde Lewis 3 times now. He never seems to remember that. Yes, Cardinal Sin, I will change my password as soon as this show is over. Or maybe I should open the other. No, if I open the laptop to change passwords, it will weaken the internet connection. And I already had a problem with it on this show. Huh, poor Jason. Yeah, the job market is weird. They're dying for restaurant workers, but I guess landlords don't have enough funds after taxes and rent controls and God knows what else to pay for cleaning. Restaurant jobs don't pay much, but around here, this being a small town and young people wanting to work near home, either they don't drive or they don't have a car. They want to work close to home. Yeah, I should pester people to hit the thumbs up for me. YouTube says I have 2 thumbs up already. Oh, and subscribe and all that stuff. And hit the notification bell, even though YouTube is not very good about notifications. I miss many things because they don't notify me. Ah, mods are supposed to pester people, huh? Yeah, when you subscribe, it helps the channel, but I'll never be monetized because it's Google Pay or whatever they call it now. And Google already banned me. It won't tell me why. I had spent a year earning a whole $20, and their minimum for payout is $50, and they canceled me and kept my $20. No explanation, and I'm banned for life. For what? I don't know. I just put a couple ads on my blog for them. Maybe because I promoted my blog trying to get more subscribers. I don't know. At Sequentia can't get the stream. No, you reloaded the page, but you have to restart your computer. Yeah, and don't shut down. Use the restart option because on restart, that activates a little bit of code that checks your hard drive for errors and, if possible, corrects them. I've run into that myself. Great Granny's rocking chair with my lumbar pillow. Yes. Oh. So, why did the FBI need between 30 and 40 agents with automatic weapons to storm into Mar-a-Lago when Donald Trump was out of state? I mean, the security there is hey, what Secret Service, government guys. They could have just said, "Hey, let us in." You think Secret Service needed guns pointed at them? Oh, congrats, at Sequentia. I don't know. Sometimes YouTube and Google play games, but I always blame Verizon because they're my internet provider. Now I'm going to have to change passwords for Google and I think Google and YouTube have the same password. I'll have to check that. I don't know. It's weird. Anyway, apparently they took Trump's passports, his correspondence with his attorneys, which they are not allowed to see. They're privileged documents. Yeah, I change passwords quite often as it is, Cardinal Sin. And the reason I don't use a password manager is because then all a hacker needs to figure out is one password, the password to the password manager. That's ridiculous. Well, at Sequentia, if you restart the computer, your operating system tries to repair any errors that it finds. That does not work if you shut down. It works only when you select restart. So I restart my devices from time to time. But yeah, it is kind of a crapshoot, a game of chance trying to get anything on the internet, especially now because so many more people are using the internet more and more. They got in the habit during the shutdown or lockdown or whatever you call it. Okay, see you later, Cardinal Sin. Oh, Typo City again. Anyway, I'm sure Trump did something, but that is not a good reason for law enforcement to go after him. Oh, we're sure he did something. Let's find out what it was. No, that's great for speculation on the internet. It is not a good reason for law enforcement to investigate. And there are many, many people they are not investigating. And YouTube, I'm only repeating things I heard on Fox News. So if it's misinformation, you better punish Fox News because I watch them on YouTube. Oh man, I got tickles and itchies and stuff. I'm trying to avoid taking anti-inflammatories for my owie back because they're bad for my kidneys. But sometimes a good muscle rub like Bengay just isn't enough. I got crumbs from my breakfast or what? I've got to get a new washing machine or a new used one, more likely. I can't believe what they cost now, but mine doesn't work. And washing things by hand just isn't working very well. I'm doing it, but it's slow and tedious. And I kind of need the kitchen sink for my dishes. And of course, I have a clothesline that only holds so many clothes at a time. So, anyway, let's see, I'm typing, so of course I can't talk. OPINIONS. Lord. Meanwhile, Congress has passed all kinds of spending bills. Yeah, I have an indoor rack at Sequentia, but I don't have much space. This is what they call a tiny home. 400 square feet, a 20 by 20 box. If I put the rack somewhere, I'll be blocking the doorway or to the bathroom or the kitchen, or it'll be on top of my bed. Because the bedroom is so tiny, I have a twin bed and a dresser, and that's all there's room for. Oh, hi, Isla Wren. We got someone new. I was just fussing about Trump and Mar-a-Lago and the FBI. I used to respect the FBI. Well, I still do most of their agents, but they're top echelon, the guys in charge, handing down the orders. I got no respect left for them. First it was Russia, Russia, Russia. Now it's, nuclear. Well, nuclear what? I've actually watched CNN as well as Fox. They don't know. He definitely does not have the nuclear codes. No president ever has them. They're in a briefcase, a locked briefcase, handcuffed to a Secret Service agent. And even if the president says, "Give me those codes, I'm going to launch," that agent can say no. He can refuse to give him the codes. Furthermore, they regularly change the codes, so even if Trump had them, they would no longer be good. They definitely change the codes when they have a new president, even if it's the second term of the same president. Well, they showed the warrant, Isla. They showed Trump's attorney the warrant from 10 or 12 feet away. Here it is. She didn't have a telescope to read it, but after they were done, they gave her a copy of the warrant. But the attachment, the affidavit that they gave to the judge to justify getting a warrant, is not public. Trump and his attorneys want it made public, but the DOJ, Department of Justice, does not want to release it. And even if they do release it, it will be redacted. They'll black out names of people and anything to do with what they call sources and methods. God forbid we should know who our law enforcement are and what they're doing. Although most of us can probably guess about sources and methods, we've seen all those movies like James Bond and The Bourne Identity, and maybe even read a few books. Lately, I'm binge watching Mrs. Polyfax. I recently discovered this series. It's based on novels by Dorothy Gilman, and they're read aloud for free on YouTube. Mrs. Polyfax. They're from primarily the 70s and 80s. There is a movie with Angela Lansbury that is titled The Unexpected Mrs. Polyfax. That was the first novel in the series, but it doesn't really faithfully follow that first novel. It inserts subplots from other novels in the series, but it's a fun movie. This elderly widow is bored, so she decides she wants to be a secret agent, and she goes to the CIA and to apply for a job. Well, that is not how you do it, but through a mix-up in the office, they think she's someone else and they hire her. And when they find out about their mistake, they hire her anyway. And she's just going to this resort hotel in Switzerland to spy on bad guys. I recommend Mrs. Polyfax. And I would read the books, but what I'm listening to on YouTube are audiobooks. And I never was all that much into audiobooks before, although I did once listen to Rising Sun on a cassette player in the car. So that was a long time ago. I forgot the author's name again. Anyway, it's Rising SON, Sun, like father and son. But it does involve Japan, the land of the rising sun. And it's all this international spy stuff. But mostly I read books. Paper, not on a device, but actually ink on paper books. Okay. So we probably have a good idea about how these things actually work. It isn't quite as glamorous as James Bond, but still, quite often what spies do is just hang around and listen, watch and listen. And of course, there's Walter Bosley, who also has a YouTube channel. He was some kind of, well, not exactly a spy, but an investigator. Etsy Quentia says, I remember cassette players in the car. That was around the time the ignition was done through hitting two rocks together. Well, I want that back. I want to be able to open my car door by putting a key in the lock and turning it, because there's no battery to go dead so you can't get in your car. And I want to be able to start the car by simply turning a key, and none of this, oh, the battery's dead, you're stuck, car won't start. It was bad enough when the car battery went dead. And these keys with the boop boop and the battery, they cost hundreds of dollars. They have to be programmed for your car. And you have to wait a while to get one. Oh, Isla Ren used to have Olivia Newton-John cassette. I never really got too much into her. But there was a joke I heard on the radio, and I forget who told it. But if Olivia Newton-John married Wayne Newton, got divorced, and married Elton John, her name would be Olivia Newton-John. And it helps to know that at the time there was a TV series called The Waltons. And John Boy was sometimes called John John. Oh, there's a bypass button. Oh, so it won't stop, the engine won't shut off every time you're at a red light? Well, some of the higher end cars now, they don't shut off, but they go to idle speed that's very, very low. You barely notice it. Anyway, we live in interesting times. Can I just take a nap until it's over? And I need to do a little research and find out whether the Waltons of the TV series are actually the Waltons of Walmart. You know, the real family it was based on. Well, I've learned that starting your car, at least in back when cars were analog and not digital, starting your car took more gas than sitting for 5 minutes at a red light with the engine running. And turning a lamp on and off used more electricity to restart the light bulb than it just leaving it on for half an hour. Olivia Newton-John had a husband who disappeared, and Isla doesn't think he was ever found. It's really amazing how many people have disappeared, especially in national parks. There's I forgot his name, but there's a sort of famous investigator, author of Missing 411. He's trying to get information. And one of the biggest areas for people disappearing is a the Sequoia National Park in California. My son used to go there quite often. In hindsight, I'm terrified, but he doesn't do that anymore. Yeah, Paulides. Paulides. Thank you, Morgan and Isla. David Paulides. Some people say Paulides, but I think it's Paulides. Several investigators who are a little more into the fringe have tried to collaborate with Paulides, but he isn't having it. You get the feeling he thinks he owns this issue. Whereas I've always thought that collaboration would get more and better results for everyone. Oh well, maybe he has good reason. I don't know. Anyway, some disappearances are murders, some are wild predators like mountains or even deer. More people are killed by deer than by cougars, also known as mountain lions or pumas, the American lion, North American lion. The reason is deer will come up and let you pet them, but if they get startled, they turn around and kick their hind legs out, and they'll hit you right in the head, and they don't even know it, but you're dead. Or they'll trample you. No one knows why. Maybe they think you've got food that you're withholding, or maybe it's rutting season, mating season, and the males are especially aggressive. And the worst of the deer family for killing people is the moose. Never mess with a moose. I finally dealt with some raccoons who keep dumping out my trash. Even with the lid on, they'll dump the barrel over and pull off the lid. So I sprayed the top of the my trash is in trash bags, often double bagged inside the barrel. So I got some what they call dog spray. It's pepper spray. And I sprayed the top 2 bags inside the trash barrel with the pepper spray. And the other night they dumped the trash barrel over, but they did not rip the bags open. So raccoons don't like pepper spray. I've given up on getting them to quit digging up my brand new plants in my garden. They're looking for grubs and worms, which I guess is better than getting into the trash. They're known as trash bandits around here. I don't want to harm them. I just want them to behave. Anyway, I haven't been able to dig in the ground between my broken hip and my broken back, so I'm planting in pots. I have to check outside. I'll only take a sec. Some kind of noisy vehicle just went by, sounded like a diesel engine. Some kind of big truck, but it's outside. Hi, KJC. Anyway, the raccoons have been digging in my potted plants for grubs and worms. So of course they dump out the plants and the plants die. So I give up. I got one tomato this year. I might get a few more. It's only August. I'll show you the tomato. Come on, where'd you go? Oh, it's in here. There. It's rather small. But it's ripe and ready to eat, so I'm going to yell tea when I ring off. Oh, let me show you. There were a few others, but I'm not eating them. Let me get them. Okay. Well, maybe I'll eat them. They were orange when I picked them. They're still kind of orange, like the picture on the little info tab that they stuck in the pot. But they're very small. This one's the size of a marble. Oh, maybe a shooter, not a little marble. This one's slightly bigger. And then there's this one here. They're starting to dry out, so I'll put them in a cup of water to rehydrate them and see if they're edible. But this one I'm sure of. This is a non-GMO. It's called, it's either Better Girl or Best Boy. It's a exclusive to Ace Hardware, I think. Anyway, they have a nice garden shop, and they are really careful to avoid GMO and stuff like that. So I can get fertilizer that is, I can get Miracle Grow there, but I can also get things like fish fertilizer and bags of worm castings, more natural stuff. Hi, Jorge. Jorge from Spain. Jorge in English is George. Jorge. G is kind of a, at least in Mexican Spanish. I think in Spain Spanish. Wow, let me put these away. Hi, Tora. Are you going to say hi to your adored fans? Huh? Let's pour the water. Okay. Dum-de-dum, dum-de-dum-de-dum. Where'd you go, Tora? Oh, she's drinking from her kitty cat water fountain. Let's see. There she is. Rather than point the camera, let's pick her up. You weigh a ton, kid. Come here. There. Say hi to your adoring fans. Oh, such a good kitty. Just shut up, Mom, and give me treats. That's my good kitty, Tora, Tora, Tora. Yes, you. All right, hop down. Where's the treats? They're here. Kitty treats. Okay. They're here, kid. My back is doing a little better, but it is still painful. I I don't want to optimize my PC. I'm busy, you evil Windows, whatever you are. Tora's a good kitty. But a couple nights ago, she stayed out all night catting around with her friend Sweetie Pie. Didn't you? Time to take off the sweater. It's warm in here. Ah, that's better. I messed up the camera. Okay. Back up and turn. Evil camera. Ah. Okay. I got a little American heart on my t-shirt. My sister-in-law bought it for me for my birthday. Kind of takes a bit of the sting out of being 68. I think I'm 26 until I get up out of the chair. Well, hi, John Smith from the UK. Wow. Our world is just so weird. Ooh, this one's empty. I smoke like a smokestack when I'm on YouTube. Can't help it. Not so much when I'm not on the air. But I have to take the new one in the kitchen and go whack, 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 because they pack them so loosely they'll fall apart while they're burning if I don't do that. Just checking the battery on my phone so it doesn't go dead, and because I'm using the hotspot for internet. If the battery goes dead, I'm off the air. So hang on while I go tamp these down. Dum-de-dum, dum-de-dum-de-dum. Okay. All right, I think I'm back. I saw a nutritionist, well, by phone, a phone consultation. I think it was Friday. Jorge Rubio had a question about Akashic Records. Well, I don't know much about them. I'm sure that they're real. I have done hills, but I'm down to 2 packs, so I'm smoking the Camel filters so I don't run out of the Dunhills. There are very few brands. You've been waiting for Tora to make an appearance, eh? I try to get her on camera by moving the camera, but today I was able to pick her up. Channeling and Akashic Records. Okay, channeling is dangerous. You'll probably contact something, but you don't know who it is or what it is. And these nasty little demonic things are very good at impersonation. They'll pretend to be someone you know and love or some ascendant master, and they're not. And they'll lead you down the garden path to your doom. Let's see. someday I'm going to have to build a stand for that camera so it'll stay put. And I won't have to fiddle with it so much. Yeah, you need protection. Hi, Morgan. Didn't see you. You definitely need protection. Morgan recommends some such as the ritual of the lesser banishing first. I like to use, even though I'm not a Catholic, I like to use the advice of Father Malachi Martin, who has passed away, but he's still on YouTube because Art Bell interviewed him several times. And he wrote books too. I have one of his books. I haven't read it because the demonic stuff scares me. Anyway, I use what he recommended. I don't do the whole take communion and all the Catholic rituals, but I figure if anyone's more powerful than demons, it's got to be God. It has to be the Lord. KJC says, I think I summoned a demon from reading Stephen King. It ruined my marriage. I don't read him anymore. I started reading a Stephen King novel once. I just couldn't keep on reading. I hadn't gotten to anything demonic yet, but he made rookie mistakes. He began chapter 1 with the man getting up in the morning and shaving, even though it was not relevant to the story. I like to start my novels in the middle of the action and then fill in the backstory as I move along. Yeah, demons are nasty things, but you can banish them. They don't have a right to mess with us. As they say, the devil cannot come in uninvited. But if your parents, either of them, had demonic influences, sorry, those demons think they have a right to you because you're the children of the person they were messing with. They don't. And you need to stay very firm. And when you banish them, you have to bind them never to come back. That doesn't mean there aren't other demons out there. Now, the Akashic records kind of agree. I suspect, not sure, but I suspect that come on, brain, that our DNA contains the memories of our ancestors, and sometimes we can access it. We're pretty sure at this point that memories are not stored in the brain. Oh, thank you, Isla. I got a compliment. Sure, you can touch a part of the brain and the person will experience a memory, but it isn't actually there in that neuron, in that brain cell. What you're stimulating is you, not your brain. My water's almost empty. I'll be right back. Oh, Lord. Dum-de-dum, dum-de-dum-de-dum. Dum-de-dum, dum-de-dum-de-dum. I keep getting cat hair in my mouth and nose, if you're wondering why I keep wiping. Okay. So there is something to the Akashic records, but trance mediums are risking much more than their lives. They're risking their souls, their selves. SEOVES. Yeah, that's the plural of self. That's better. Yeah. Neurologists and physicians would scoff at the idea that DNA has all your ancestors' memories. But there is actual there are several actual peer-reviewed studies indicating that people who have been diagnosed as brain dead are still conscious and able to answer questions even though they cannot speak. One of them involved putting someone in a vegetative state, meaning the body's alive but nobody's home. Not one person, but several people were put into what they call a functional MRI. And when they were asked questions, there were changes in the brain. There were electrical connections that fired. They could do simple arithmetic. They could do yes or no. And they also had a control group of people who were not brain dead. Oh, the poor woman with the Seth material. I couldn't listen to her. It made me so sad for her. She was really oppressed, if not possessed. OKGC has memories that he or she don't feel really happened, and I have memories of dreams that feel more real than my actual memories. Well, I can join you in that, KJC. And for example, I thought I had either imagined or dreamed the UFO that I saw in 1960. But since then, researchers into the UFO have published images of the newspaper accounts of that UFO, or rather those UFOs that were seen all over California, including down into Baja. In August of 1960, when I thought I had imagined the UFO that I saw. So it wasn't a dream, it was real. And my older and smarter brother remembers it, but I had been afraid to ask him about it until one day he asked me, "Do you remember?" Oh, and it was not a flying saucer. It was a globe, a glowing red-orange globe up in the sky, and it came down over the fence to our backyard. And our mother was freaking out, yelling and screaming at us to get in the house. It really happened. And then I thought I had imagined or dreamed being tested and taught psychic stuff. Not mind reading, but well, sort of, but more like remote viewing. Well, I was studied, and they gave me the children's version of the MMPI, the crazy test, the the Minnesota something, now I've forgotten, but it's a personality inventory. And it can reveal that you're bipolar or schizophrenic or whatever. Minnesota Multiphasic Personality Inventory. Oh, poor Howard stepped out while we were talking about woo-woo stuff. It really happened. The study was published, and it was even in Scientific American years later because it was a longitudinal study. That means they didn't just test you and send you home. They kept on testing their subjects periodically over more than 10 years. Oh, you have nightmares of UFOs every night? They might be just nightmares, but who knows? I understood Whitley Strieber's book Communion because it was so much like what happened to Philip K. Dick. But Phil went off in a different direction. Whitley Strieber, I think, has walked too far into woo-woo land, and he's believing entities that tell him lies. Oh, Paul from Newcastle is here. Sorry I didn't see you sooner. Gotta stay hydrated. My kidneys insist on it. I've got kidney stones. And since the doctors insist they can't do anything, I'm using a homeopathic remedy. It seems to at least reduce the pain. And recent studies in peer-reviewed journals, not just La La Land, have found that coffee is not harmful. They recommend no more than 2 or 3 cups of coffee per day, but some studies have found that some people, like me, metabolize coffee so much better and faster that we can get away with 5 or 6 cups a day. So I'm good. But since it can dehydrate you, because it's a diuretic, I make sure I get plenty of water and juice and tea. Yeah, Philip K. Dick, my late ex-husband. Yeah, um his books are really fascinating. I haven't read all of them, but I've read many of them. Oh, Isla loves coffee. Yeah, me too. Yeah, there was a Communion the movie, Christopher Walken. I never remember actors' names. Sometimes I can't come up with like Clark Gable or Arnold Schwarzenegger or Tommy Lee Jones. And they're some of my favorite actors. Schwarzenegger's not my favorite governor of California, but oh, Gil is back. Hi there. Be sure to subscribe to Cardinal Sin's channel. It's amazing. Much more professional, and he usually has a guest. He does a lot of unboxing too. I've found that I don't get a lot of viewers for my unboxing, but then I'm not spending a lot of time unboxing and um, I'm not spending a lot of time describing what I got. But I think I should do more cooking videos. Um, Maybe next time I prepare chicken livers, I'll show you how I do it. How do you get treated or tested for coffee tolerance? I don't know. Well, usually, at least in my experience, you can tell when you've had too much coffee. You might get the jitters where your hands shake, or your tummy might be upset. You just monitor your own physical feelings. Oh, Tora won't eat cooked chicken livers. She wants them raw. I soak them in cold water to get out the bitterness, and I have to cover them when I do that, or she'll just stick her head in the bowl and start chomping. Yeah, Phil wrote a great deal, and much of it is unpublished, especially his handwritten notes for the exegesis. But many of his manuscripts have disappeared, uh, of published and unpublished works, and I suspect they were taken in the 1971 raid on his home. That happened before I met him. Yeah, when Tora eats her raw liver, I can't help thinking of that movie. Um, I've forgotten the title, and I've forgotten the actress's name, where she swallows a piece of raw liver because she's pregnant and she's going to give birth to the devil's son. Oh dear, how could I forget? Not The Exorcist, not The Shining. Um, you guys, yeah, Rosemary's Baby. Thank you, Isla. Still don't remember the actress's name. Hold on, Howard Yeah, there's cell memory in patients who have had transplants, which is one of the reasons why I suspect that our memories are in our DNA. And I think our ancestors' memories are there because Mia Farrow, thank you, Isla. I think our ancestors' memories are in the DNA because where did we get our DNA if we got it from our ancestors? Well, I don't know. Speaking of ancestors, according to the Mormons, they do a lot of genealogy. My Cherokee ancestor was listed in the census as white, but I'm not sure they have the right person. The names are not quite matching. Although she was in Virginia and Arkansas, which kind of could be, but in the 1820s, things weren't that um, easy to find in terms of official records. Okay, now going back, uh, Et Sequentia wants to know why the police raided Phil's home. Well, we don't know who raided his home, but he was lured out of his house, and then his car broke down, and the mechanic told Phil the next day that someone had tampered with his car to make it break down. And when he got home, he found the place torn apart, doorknobs knocked off of the doors, a big sliding glass door smashed, the glass all over the place. Explosives were used on his filing cabinet. It wasn't even a safe. You could have opened it with a screwdriver if he had locked it, but he had not locked it. They left valuable things like an expensive wristwatch and some cash and coins, collectible coins. They dumped all his food out on the kitchen floor, the food in the cupboards and the food in the refrigerator. It was weird. And Phil never knew who did it or why, but he blamed Richard Nixon, who was president at the time. And I believe, looking back, that it had to be this brand new agency called the DEA, Drug Enforcement Agency, which was established by President Nixon. And the reason was that Timothy Leary had escaped from prison, and Phil had a very innocent and brief connection where um, he spoke to Timothy Leary on the phone, and Leary just wanted to say he was a fan of Phil's work. But our government really wanted to get Timothy Leary. Well, Leary ended up touring Europe, making speeches and making money for his public appearances. Well, there it goes again. I've got a cowlick right here and it's bugging me. I'm going to have to start using mousse or hairspray or something. Of course, I'm familiar with Blade Runner. My husband wrote the book. Oh, you're asking Isla. I wrote a book about Blade Runner. I think it's my most recent book. It's kind of a movie review and book review, but not totally. But it's mainly my opinions. Yeah, Phil predicted things, and that was not his intention. He wrote about the world as he saw it in his time and place. And it's sad that some of his early novels have been so overlooked, like The Unteleported Man, where people are promised a better life in the colonies, and when they get there, it turns out to be a slave labor encampment. Or The Penultimate Truth, in which they're working hard for the war effort and living in underground shelters when there is no war. We're living in those times. We have people coming from all around the world to our southern border, and instead of the land of opportunity, they're slaves to the cartels. I guess we need more slave labor to support the wealthy elite. They need servants in their mansions, they need gardeners, they need uh, overworked and underpaid workers on factory farms and in factories and warehouses and even restaurants. And then there's, I don't know, I guess we aren't at war, but we are, but it isn't a war. But we're all suffering and working hard just to get by. Oh, that's interesting, Morgan. Elon Musk is saying people coming with him, I guess that's on his colonizing Mars or something. Anyway, another planet will be indentured essentially. Yeah, they have to work as slaves to pay off the cost of their passage on the spaceship. The way so many Irish became indentured um, in order to come to America during the one of the many famines that the British caused, by the way. Ireland had plenty of food, but the Irish couldn't afford to buy it. Little known factoid. The English in Ireland were well fed because they were the ruling elite. Anyway, many of those Irish were de facto slaves. You know, Joseph Pulitzer came over during the Civil War, the famous American journalist. He was from Eastern Europe, I forget which country, but maybe Poland. Anyway, Pulitzer came as, I forget what they call it, but the North was drafting people to fight the Civil War, but you could pay for an immigrant to come over and take your place if you didn't want to fight. So Joseph Pulitzer was brought over to become a soldier so that the rich American guy would not have to put on a uniform and fight. Let's see. In a mirror darkly? I don't think that's quite right. Do you mean a scanner darkly? Yeah. It's from a line in the New Testament. a scanner darkly. In the Bible, it says we see as through a glass darkly, and that's in the King James. Glass was what they called mirrors. Oh God, Isla, they even exported potatoes? Well, it's not exactly wrong at Sequentia because that's what the Bible says. It's something Paul wrote. Corinthians, I think, or maybe another. I think it was in one of the Corinthians. And I don't dare look it up because Verizon keeps squeezing my internet service and I might lose the YouTube connection. We see now as through a glass darkly, but then face to face. He looks forward to being face to face with God. KGC, congratulations on your silver honorable mention in the Writers of the Future contest. If you check out Facebook, if you're on Facebook, Lord, I'm not sure what the page is called, and I keep forgetting the guy's name. But there are several publications. I have a story in an upcoming anthology called Somniscope. Somni as in sleeping, scope as in seeing. And it's the second in a series of anthologies. The first one was Mirror Maze. So, of course, that story involved a mirror. And the one in Somniscope involves a dream. There's also not paid, but good, they give you a copy, an author's copy of Emanations. And that would be, can't remember the editor's name. But if you search around Facebook for Emanations, you might find it. It's Sequentia, 1 Corinthians 13:12, King James. For now we see through a glass darkly, but then face to face. Now I know in part, but then I shall know even as also I am known. Somniscope isn't out yet. It should come out for Christmas this year. Originally, it was going to come out for Christmas last year, but stuff happens. Anyway, I have a story ready to go for the third anthology when that happens. I'm holding it back. It involves Mary Magdalene. Jan is working on self-sufficiency, studying permaculture design. Already completed horticulture studies. Good. Good. Well, I just might be able to dig a trench with the pickaxe now. I can't shovel. I can't lift a shovel. Believe me, I've tried. I can get on my knees and use a little hand trowel, but if I shovel with a shovel where you're standing up, it's really painful, and the pain lasts for hours afterward. And before my hip was a little better healed, I couldn't do it at all. Oh, and I can't stomp on the shovel. if the dirt is loose, I can kind of use a shovel to move some of the dirt, but then my back will be killing me for hours. So I get down on my knees and use the little hand tools. But I think I can swing the pickaxe to loosen the dirt. And then I'll have a garden ready to start next year. Oh, Jan is deep into reading The Darkening of the Light. Well, thank you. I think that is my best work so far. I wrote most of it in a sort of frenzy. It was a lot like being possessed. No matter how tired or hungry or thirsty I was, I did not want to leave the keyboard while the words were coming out. And I wrote it in record time. About a month. Most of my books take a lot longer than that. Let's see, hour and a half. Wow. Well, The Darkening of the Light, I tried to use as much humor, funny stuff as possible. Okay. The Hilltop Fortress of Montsegur. I honestly don't remember putting that in the book. But yeah, that's where the last of the Cathars were killed. But two of them got away with their treasure, whatever it was. Page 29. Okay. Let me see if I still have a copy of that book. I think I do because somebody won it. No, he won Blade Runner, I believe. Jason, I think this is the book that Jason won. Blade Runner creator Philip K. Dick. Let's see. Because why would I put it there if he didn't win it? Here we go. The Darkening of the Light, with cover art by Nick Buchanan, an Englishman who does really great work for me and refuses to charge me a single dime or penny. Page 29. Da, da, da. Oh, yeah. First, it talks about Masada. Are you see months? Yes. Okay. And the martyrs, the heretics being killed off by armies. Masada in the Holy Land and the hilltop fortress of Montsegur in France, in southern France. Joseph P. Farrell talks about that. The Albigensian Crusade. Let me put this somewhere safe. Okay. That crusade was, a Catholic thing. One of the early crusades, worse than what they did in Palestine. The Knights Templar refused to participate in it. And then, wonder of wonders, the King of France and the Pope, who at that time was kind of held captive in France, not in Rome, went after the Templars. In Portugal, the King of Portugal had no stomach for killing Knights Templars, so he just said, okay, we're changing your name. You're Knights of Christ. In Scotland, they found refuge. And the King of France never found their treasury, didn't find any of their gold or jewels or money. But they killed a lot of people, burned them at the stake. So Jan plans to visit the hilltop fortress of Montsegur as soon as he or she is able. I guess that's Jan can be either, but I think Jan is a woman. I can't swear to it. Oh. Well, Mary Magdalene probably did go to France, but the Holy Blood, Holy Grail thing is just too far fetched. There's no reason why Jesus could not have been married to someone. It makes no difference to me whether he was or wasn't, but why did they pick on Mary Magdalene? She was a leader, the leader of the women disciples, the females. She was number one woman. And Jesus did exorcise, what was it, 7 demons from her? But there's no reason to think that she was the prostitute mentioned in the New Testament. People got the two stories confused because one follows the other. But really, for a variety of reasons, the prostitute is not Mary Magdalene, it's someone else. And even if the prostitute was named Mary, it was a very common name. There are scenes with 2 or 3 women named Mary in the same house at the same time. Yeah, well, I'm, I would, really accept that Mary Magdalene landed in France in a boat, might have had children with her, but that doesn't mean their father was Jesus. It's a bit of a stretch. Just a little too far. But she was very important. And there's a good argument that she converted a lot of French people to Christianity. Wow. Anyway, my story isn't about that. It's about her kneeling outside the tomb and weeping because he's dead. And she brought the oils to anoint him, and he isn't there. So it's after the crucifixion and burial, but before the resurrection. Oh well, I'm not going to give away spoilers. When the story comes out, I want you to read it. And if it doesn't fit the third anthology, I'll submit it to Emanations. Let me see if I have a copy handy of Emanations. Someone disorganized all my books and I'm still searching for things. Don't see it here. I don't know where it is at the moment. Didn't think I'd need it today. It's probably around the. I'll look in one more place. Yeah. Well, darn it. Oh well. Emanations doesn't pay authors, but frankly, I haven't made much on the anthologies. By the time the royalties are divided among all the authors, it isn't much. I can't figure out where I would have put those. I have several volumes. Emanations is a series, a sort of journal in the form of a large format paperback book. Who I probably put them. Oh, I have a sort of stash of the important books. It's hard to get to. Oh, thank you, KJC. Going to read my books. Okay. In the there's another journal that I've forgotten the name of. Wasn't Emanations? Oh, it's PKD Otaku. Is another. I'll have to spell that. I used to know what otaku meant. It's Japanese, but I forgot. Oh yeah, it's like I think that's where I submitted an excerpt from my work in progress about Phil's exegesis. I actually sent them all I had and let them choose what they want to publish. And they did, but I don't know which volume it's in. Oh, bye, Isla. Thanks for stopping by. I hope it is Isla and not Isla. I might be pronouncing the name wrong, but I think it's Isla. Cat hair everywhere. So, an hour and 40, and I'm just rambling. I hope YouTube doesn't ding me for this, but as I said earlier, I'm just repeating what Fox News and CNN and a few others already said on YouTube, and they haven't been dinged for it, at least not that I know of. Their videos are still up. I'm really wondering what the big deal is about that raid on Mar-a-Lago. Maybe there is something there, or maybe it's a big nothing burger. I don't know. The FBI isn't saying so. There have been some leaks, but I'm not sure they're credible. And even if they are, they're really. Oh, I see. There's a reflection in my window that's bugging me. Anyway, there's not enough info to really understand what's going on there. I hope they release the affidavit so at least we'll get some sense of what they're up to. Anyway, I gotta go too. It's time to get back to gardening and stuff like that, and breakfast. Let's see. So, thank you. I'm typing all for listening, and have a great day. Okay. And maybe I'll do some more cooking videos. Maybe. Thank you, Howard. Thanks, Witta. And I'll catch you all later. Oh, thanks, Paul. Bye.